Hi, it's Nikki David Mediation. Sorry for my croaky voice. I'm still recovering from cold. I really, in my sparkly jumper, wanted to kind of give a kind of New Year's message, I guess. Coming into 2020, this is the 31st of December in London now. In Australia, they've already celebrated it, but we are going through it. I also look at the Chinese New Year. I think that's significant. In fact, I usually see January as working through the resolutions and then refining. I don't even call them resolutions. My intentions, what do I do? And then I refine them ready for the Chinese New Year, because it's a Lunar New Year. Anyway, I really want to say thank you for watching, because I mean, you would have seen the evolution of my videos. I'm still never going to be one of those people who's like polished and got a script, because I like going off script. I also think that sometimes when you're in the middle, and you get used to this, I guess, with mediumship, is you can be as prepared as you want. You've got all your notes, you're going through, same with consultations, you're prepared, you've done it that, you know what you're going to talk about, and then you go on stage, or you're on the Skype with the client or face to face, and you'll end up being off-piste, especially working with spirit. They'll go, you know what, we want to talk about this, or we need to speak to that person there, so you need to change, or we're going to give you a word. And you have to learn that really you have to trust your own ability, your own innate ability that you've worked on, but also you have to, trust spirit that you're working with. So you end up kind of going, I can do all this prep, and actually that one thing might be completely different. So you'll see that in my videos. And also, if you rehearse something a number of times, you'll know this if you've done a play, by the time it comes through, I'm bored of it. I don't know how singers and actors do it, because they rehearse all the time and then they start to do it night after night, or I just would bore me to tears. And I'll change it as I go along. It's always going to be a different way. So you've seen an evolution. There is a lot more content coming along. I've had a lot of time off for Christmas to think about what I want to do. There's lots more ideas. I want to do a lot more interaction and how to do that. And a lot more circles are coming up as well, because I really want to help people with their development. And it's nice to see that I'm getting comments on, especially old videos where I look. I've got to catalogue all my videos. And I really hate the idea of looking back and go, oh my gosh, my hair looks off. Oh, why did I say that? Or how I could have said that so much better. But the problem is, we can always say something better. And that's the one thing I've learned. If, I challenge myself to do these without editing, and try and only do them in 1 or 2 takes. Because if not, you can constantly find a reason why it's not any good. That's me. I'm a little bit rough and ready. I don't know if it's the best way to describe myself. But I definitely thank the people, that have watched the videos and commented, and I hope that that's helped. Because I do believe that actually when we are tapping in to something else out there, and we're tapping into a collective. And when you do videos like this, you are tapping in, and you want to, it's nice that you get that feedback, that it's the mood of the people that are connected in whichever way that is. You can't always define it. So I do thank you for watching, and I'm constantly inspired by it, because so many times when I first started, I was just like, oh, nobody's watching it. Oh, they got like 1 or 2. You look at the hits, and now I haven't looked at the hits for a while, and then I go back and I'm like, whoa, people like it. But it is about remembering that you aren't as important as that initial hit, and at least if you've managed to help somebody, you are helping a lot more, because you help that one person could help others. So the idea that you're touched by light, you touch someone with your light, and they go on and touch other people with your light, also makes you think of germs too. So I wouldn't physically touch everybody, especially with all the colds going out, which I'm recovering from. I'm really interested in what you want to see going into 2020. Why 2012? Because I am looking to expand that. But it's really interesting to see how 2019 has been kind of a big year for a big subset of people, and if you know the astrology, you probably know why. That's going to continue through a little bit. So all our cardinal signs are kind of, especially the sun and moon and cardinal signs, are going through the mill a bit, but then you fix signs aren't getting off any lighter because Uranus is kind of like messing with your, in a good way. So there's a lot, you know, a lot of people getting caught up, and then you have the mutables will be going through it as well. So next year in 2020, it's kind of like everybody is going to be touched in some ways, because even if it isn't you being touched directly, you're connected to, you know, family or colleagues or companies or loved ones, in romantic relationships and all sorts. So it's always going to touch you, because there are these patterns. I always used to wonder, especially with astrology, I don't really do mundane astrology. I never really looked at the weather, mundane weather, but actually think about, you're always going to be touched in some ways, whether it's directly or indirectly. So 2019 as a retrospective, for the surrounding that I've had, it's been quite a kind of like, I don't want to say awakening because it's overused, but it feels like a lot of people have had to rethink what they thought was on solid ground, and that's actually led to quite a few upheavals. Some of those are kind of like, it feels like they're instant, but if you look back, they've been building up. It feels like we've had to go a little bit more down to ground zero and rebuild. But it means like, it's like going back to the foundations. You know, when you have a plan a house, you lay the foundations, and say you've kind of started building up, and then you realize you made all these little changes, you know, maybe interior walls, or you move things around, and then you've gone, actually, you know what, this is not how it should be, and you go back, but you have the foundation, so you just need to rebuild on that. You've got the bricks, you've got everything else, you just need to build it in a different way, and remember why you're here, and remember what your vision was when you first started. And I've been reminded of that personally, of what is the vision of David Mediation. I went a little bit too populist and realised I'm very niche, so I've had to brand. So, you know, I've had to cope with things like the website coming down and not being able to put it back up, because I really needed, Spirit pushed me to kind of work out what I wanted to do and how I was going to do that. So for me, that was a kind of very important time to really, you know, reevaluate what I wanted to do and what was hitting, what's not. And, you know, you get those frustrations of, oh, I'm doing all of these things and nobody's, you know, it's not being picked up. And it's like, well, yeah, but am I doing the right thing for me? That's a good thing commercially, and a lot of people are doing it. Is the right time for me? And I think that it's, you know, for lots of people, it's been a kind of, let's just check, let's rebrand, let's rethink. And then, you know, there's been this nebulous feeling of, oh yes, oh no, oh yeah. So I know personally that I felt a little bit like that. Now I feel like my feet are firmly on the floor, my foundations, I'm going back to those foundations that were originally there for how many years of work, and you know, through learning and kind of working to a level of self-mastery, then you kind of, you know, you're remembering that, you know, you're remembering what you did to get here, you're remembering why, and it's been a lot more fun, focusing more on, I guess, psychic and soul connections and mediumship as a whole. I realised also, I know this is kind of a long rambling video, but I realise sometimes we pick something to show ourselves in that's more socially acceptable. And it's weird, I picked being known a bit more for astrology because it's more socially acceptable than talking to the dead. And not only do I talk to the dead, I allow them to use my body, my physical self. So it's kind of a hard sell, I think, and that's why I was behind astrology, and I've had to take that screen away, and I will definitely be focusing more on that going forward. But I know this is rambling, I do wish everybody a really great 2020, and even in the trying times, you know, acknowledge the hard times and then bask in the glory of the great times, because when you're an active participant in your life, you are involved in this. and for good or ill, and not everything is your fault. You know, this is not this kind of blame, but then, you know, what can we do about it? How do we take action instead of waiting for things to happen? And waiting is, I think, always a bad thing. There is this time where you have to, things might not be happening, but passivity isn't about waiting. It's about being. And being is very different. Being is still sitting on that energy. It is about still living your life, but knowing that this isn't the right time to maybe do certain activities. And it's about trusting. It's going with the flow, going with the rhythm. So I'm wishing you a really good 2020. I'm wishing that you're active and you're setting your intentions. And remember that, you know, Spirit always here to help you and support you. Whichever, whether you believe in Spirit, God, various deities, higher selves, anything that you believe in, the part of us that's not here, how we connect it to the collective unconscious, collective conscious, whatever you believe in, it's really important to, you know, it's really important not what the name of what you believe in or who they are. It is important that you become part of that process with them. It's a partnership. So whatever other things you're doing, make sure that you're strengthening that partnership, your partnership with yourself, which is also a partnership to the divine. So, you know, remember, internal and external pretty much should be the same thing and should be aligned. So that is my rambling news message. Have a great one.